guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking you guys along as I plan and prep our upcoming unit. This is a brand new unit from the new Nature Study Club from For the Love of Homeschooling. This is the second month. I shared with you guys last month a little bit about it, which was nesting birds, the very first month of Nature Study Club. And this month is animal homes. So I'm super excited to share with you how I plan and prep these and also everything that comes with it and give you a full flip through of all of the different levels, because there's the teacher's guide, the expert explorer, which is for ages 12 and up, the senior explorer, which is for ages 9 through 11, the junior explorer, which is for ages 6 through 8, and then the little explorer, which is for ages 3 through 5. So you'll be able to see how I plan and prep all of that and get full flip throughs of everything that's in there, so you can get a full understanding of what comes in this unit and how you might go about getting started with your family with the Nature Study Club. The link to check out all the details about Nature Study Club and to get a free trial of it, or just to join because it's $12 a month, which is an amazing deal once you see everything that is included, is linked down below. If you have questions, definitely drop them down below. Let me know if you've started Nature Study Club or if you do Nature Study, and I am going to show you how I go about getting set up. So this is what it looks like when you open up your Nature Study Club file. It has links to the teacher's manual, the poster packs, the Little Explorer, all of the different leveled notebooks. I'm just going to open one of these up so you can see how simple it is and how I go about seeing what's in there and deciding what I want to print and use and have prepared for my kids. So it even gives you some important notes here about the notebooks and in general, just to kind of guide you if you haven't yet done Nature Study Club. So I'm going to open up the Senior Explorer workbook because this is one that I'm actually not going to print. It's the only one I'm not going to print, even though I technically have a child in this age range. Senior Explorer is for ages 9 through 11. However, I have my just turned 11-year-old doing the Expert Explorer notebook with his older brother so that they can work together and also give him a little bit of an extra challenge. However, I did come across this Animal Homes KWL chart that I want all of my kids to do because I really just think this would be a great way for us to get started together and also look back and see what we learned at the end of the unit based on what we knew and what we wanted to know, and think about those as sort of research questions. So I'm going to go ahead and print 4 of these because I know that my younger kids who are not writing will also want one when they see their older siblings with them, and I can always write in anything they say they want to know about animals. So I am binding everyone's units this time. I'm super excited about it, and I have my little guy helping me because he is such a little helper, and sometimes if he's up, it's easier to involve him, even if it takes a little bit longer than it is to just try to keep him occupied doing something else, because he's super interested in what I'm doing. So we have everything printed and bound, and now we are just cutting out all of the 3-part cards and getting them ready. Okay, so I have everything printed. These were the extra things that I printed a few copies of from the Senior Explorer, which I'm going to show you digitally what that looks like because, as I mentioned, since I have both of my older 2 boys using Expert Explorer, even though technically my second oldest son would be falling under the Senior Explorer, you can use this depending on what you think is best for your kids. And so I'm going to have all of my kids do this because I just think it would be a cool place to capture in one place everything that they knew and everything they wanted to know, and then everything they learned throughout the unit. So we're all going to do that before we get started. And then I will start with the teacher's guide to give you a flip through of that. So this is the teacher's manual, and it gives you the whole outline so you can see quickly at a glance what you're focusing on each day. It gives you the week 1 prep guide and lets you know like exactly which printables you're going to need, any supplies that you might need to be prepared for any of the activities for the week, and then a place for you to take some notes if you would like to. Maybe create a list of things that you don't already have that you need to get. Then it tells you all about the student workbook. So if you're new to Nature Study Club, that will be really helpful. It tells you the age levels and the types of things you'll find in there. And then for each day, it gives you the exact schedule, a warm-up, the daily reading, you'll read it right from here, and then the workbook activities that each of the different levels will be working on. So they have a guide in theirs, but you'll also be able to see quickly at a glance, okay, I know this kid needs to do pages 3 through 4. I know this child needs to do pages 3 through 5 or whatever it may be. And then there's a group activity that you do together. Then this is a place to select and brainstorm different things that animals might need. This is just to get you started thinking as a group about the types of things that animals need for homes, and then kind of comparing them to human homes. So just kind of introductory brainstorming. Then you have your day 2 schedule, which follows the same format. The differences between habitats and homes. Here's your day 3 schedule. It's a very simple, easy to follow format. Here's some sequencing. Each person at the table will draw a card for this activity. The day 4 schedule, all about how Beaver raises a family. Then you have the newborn baby animal weight activity. So it gives you an idea of how much they weigh based on like measurements using rice or beans. This is all about newborn animals that goes along with that, comparing them and their findings. Here's the day 5 schedule, talks about beavers and their dams, beaver filtration systems, and then it even has you create a water filtration system, so that's really cool. There's lots of STEM activities as part of the Nature Study Club. So here's the lab. It walks you through all of the steps to make a hypothesis, your observation, and your conclusion. Then you have your week 2 prep pack. Again, it tells you everything that you need to get ready for the week. Your day 6 schedule, where you'll be talking more about bears. There's the bear den activity. So this is a STEM activity, a STEM log sheet. Day 7, working on bear life cycle and characteristics, sequencing. Day 8 is focusing on rabbits. Day 9 is how a rabbit raises a family, so more information about rabbits, the Canmore bunnies. So this is starting to talk to kids about cause and effect. And then they'll do more activities on their own that deal with cause and effect at their level. Here, this talks about silhouettes, kind of what they are, and doing some activities that go along with it. So it includes art and STEM and so many different things, not just nature study. So this gives you the templates that you need for the silhouette activity. Then you have your week 3 prep pack, same thing, everything that you need. Day 11, this is all about squirrels. So here's some squirrel nest material scavenger hunt, animal home log, your day 12 schedule. Here you're going to do a watercolor tutorial, which is really cool. We really enjoyed that in the nesting birds unit. This is a little bit more about the watercolor and nature journaling course that's offered as an addition that you can always add on. Here's the day 13 schedule, which is more like comparison between the different mammals that you've learned about. Beavers and bear science, so there's another science activity, science experiment pages. Day 14 schedule, talking specifically about mammals. There's a rabbit race activity. Day 15 schedule. You have poetry, animal idioms and phrases. Week 4 prep pack. Then it gives you an overview of the end of unit projects and research reports, how you can make an end of unit party. Day 16 schedule. This is where you're going to be starting diorama projects and doing writing. This is a project work day for day 17. This is where you'll create the animal homes diorama. You can sketch it out here. This is a research day, so there aren't any daily readings. Then you have these compare and contrast Venn diagrams for beavers and bears. Another project work period. And then this is the presentations and party on the last day. Back here you have some recipes that you could do for your party or at different points in the unit. You could do it to kick off your unit. That part is totally up to you. And that is everything in the teacher's manual. Okay, so next after the teacher's guide would be Expert Explorer, and this is for 12 and up. This is what I have both my just turned 11-year-old and my 14-year-old doing. And so as you can see, it gives them a weekly overview. And so it tells them what they're focusing on each day and exactly what pages to turn to. So it's super easy. It gives them daily reminders and then also notes. And then this is where they are working independently at their level, but I'll also allow my boys to work together as partners since I'm giving them the same books. So focusing on why animals need homes, safety, designing a shelter. They start to talk about cause and effect. Then they have a chart where they're working through cause and effect, learning about how beavers build their dams and their lodge. Biodiversity, water filtration, flood reduction. They go over taxonomy again because they did this in the nesting birds unit, understanding how taxonomy works. So they go through and review on their own. Then they start doing their animal classification. So they'll do the beaver. They'll learn about the fur trade. This I thought was really cool that I noticed they're creating a beaver comic, and they're also showing the understanding of the cause and effect relationship with beavers and their ecosystems through a comic story. So I thought that was really, really creative and cool. Then week 2, it goes over everything that they're going to be doing. Starts with bear den identification. So they have independent readings that they do as well, especially at the older ages. They're creating an infographic. Then we have the classification scramble. Now they do the classifications for the black bear. Here they compare newborn animals. They're going to do some drawing. Here they do the eastern cottontail rabbit. They learn about the Canmore bunnies. They write a letter. Week 3 overview, there's a poetry tea time and also some other things that they're doing. Animal classifications for the squirrel. They have more about Venn diagramming. And they do their own. This is all about the art of names. So I thought that was really cool. They learn about how animals get their names. Then they go through and there's some reading comprehension questions based on the reading. And then they label all of the anatomies of the mammals that they learned about. So we have posters in the poster pack that they will use to complete these. So the beaver, the bear, then they'll compare the bear versus the beaver. Then the rabbit versus the squirrel. They'll do the anatomies. And then there's the classification scramble for those. And then there's some copy work. And then week 4, again, this was all about working on the final project. So it goes through a cause and effect essay. I really love how it walks them through writing. I thought that was really great in last month's unit. So an essay planner, a place for them to write out their final essay. There's a self-checklist there. And that is it for the Expert Explorer notebook. Okay, so this says Senior Explorer just to keep it easier so that my boys know which one to grab. But the inside, other than the cover, is exactly the same because I chose to do the Expert Explorer for my 11-year-old. So let me show you what the actual Senior Explorer level looks like. Okay, so once again, this is the Senior Explorer workbook that I started to show you earlier. They have their weekly and daily guide for what to do, starting with drawing their home. They have the Animal Homes KWL right in their notebook. They have a reading comprehension to get started with. They have labeling the Beaver Lodge. They have beaver characteristics, Beaver Lodge journaling, drawing a beaver lodge. They have the beaver life cycle. So they will cut out these life cycle pieces and place them there. Then we have week 2, which focuses on bears, and they have the bear anatomy, bear characteristics, drawing the bear den, the black bear life cycle, and you can see there is copy work here, then the rabbit burrow, rabbit characteristics, drawing a rabbit burrow, rabbit life cycle, copy work again, so it follows this very pretty predictable pattern, but then here you have some more reading comprehension, week 3, again some copy work, squirrel characteristics and nest, squirrel life cycle, animal babies, so doing some graphing, some math skills, which is really great. Don't mind my kids in the background. So we have mammal comparison, a mammal checklist to start to compare the different animals. We have acrostic poetry for our poetry tea time. Week 4, which is again all about the Animal Homes research reports. And so still follows the same format and is connected to the older journals, but more at the level for a 9 to 11-year-old. And then there's this animal observation journal included within the Senior Explorer notebook. So I like that there are guided ages for each level, but that you can choose what works best. Okay, next up is Junior Explorer, and this is the one that I'll be using for my 6, almost 7-year-old, and it's for ages 6 to 8. Same format. They have their week overview and know what pages to do which day. They start with making a picture of their home. This is the same thing that I printed out here. So she'll be able to do hers right in her book. If I would have thought about it ahead of time, I would have put them in the older boys' books in the beginning of their books before I bound them, but I didn't. So this is the animal home sort. So the pages to cut and paste are on here. So one thing that I will say is in all of the other books, other than the Expert Explorer and maybe the Senior Explorer, you're going to want to print them not double-sided unless you do what I did, and that's go through and figure out which pages you could and which pages you can't, because if you're cutting something, then obviously you can't do that page double-sided. Okay, so next they have this little Animal Homes book. So you could either choose to just have them do it in here, or they could cut it out and create a little book with it. So I'll let her decide which one she wants to do when we get to this point. Then there is the Beaver Lodge labeling, and for them they just cut and paste, and if she chooses to, I'll let her write. So I'll let her decide which way she wants to do it. And then she has the anatomy of the beaver, beaver characteristics, beaver life cycle. So she'll cut these out and paste them in the appropriate spot. So definitely more cutting and pasting at this level. Week 2 overview, cutting and pasting of the bear den, cutting and pasting of the anatomy of the black bear characteristics. So you can see it's a very predictable format at this age. The bear life cycle, cut and paste. Bear seasons, so showing the different seasons that they go through. Rabbit burrow labeling. Anatomy of a rabbit. Rabbit characteristics. There's a little maze for them to do to show the doe getting to their burrow. Week 3 overview. Squirrel nest or dray labeling. Animal home characteristics for the squirrel. Anatomy of the squirrel. Squirrel life cycle. An animal baby's bar graph. So I think this is really cool that it includes some math skills. There's a mammal checklist for both the beaver and the bear, and the rabbit versus the squirrel. They're doing some acrostic poetry for the poetry tea time. some poem writing based on their senses, and then the week 4 overview, and a template for their animal home research report, and they do the final report here. The Little Explorer, and this is for ages 3 to 5. I have my 3-year-old doing this one. So again, it gives them the overview, although I don't think he's at the point where he's able to actually utilize that, but I just printed this all out anyway. So some letter recognition, H is for home, some tracing, and then draw a picture of your home. They also have a little book that you could have them cut out, or you could cut out for them depending on their skill level. They can do tracing and coloring, or maybe just coloring, again based on their skill level. Then tracing of the name of the beaver lodge, cutting out the beavers and putting them back on that previous page of the beaver lodge, counting beavers, so some math skills, the life cycle puzzle. Here is some big to small cutting and sorting. Then week 2. Then they do a similar activity where they trace the word den. So these go in the bear's den, and then these are positional words showing them where they go on the proper page. So what goes in this den, you'd put it there, and then what goes under the tree, you'd put that there. Then the life cycle puzzle, small to big this time instead of big to small. The rabbit burrow tracing, and also the cutting and pasting, putting them in and around their burrow. Animal home matching, so matching the animal to their home. Rabbit life cycle puzzle. Mammal matching, so the adult to its baby. Then week 3, then tracing nest for the squirrel nest. Then cutting and pasting the squirrels in and around their nest. More tracing of words. Life cycle puzzle for the squirrel. How many babies? So this is cutting and pasting and remembering and reviewing how many babies each of these typically have. There's a count and graph, so some math and graphing similar to the level above, but obviously not as complex. Then beaver and bear word tracing, and then my mammal wheel. So they can color this, cut it, and then attach it. More mammal words. Rabbit and squirrel words. Counting practice. Then there's this little sort of coloring book included, so they can trace the word and color the picture. Here, poetry coloring, draw and color your own animal home. So while the other kids are writing poetry during poetry tea time, they can draw and color. Different doors, Jax. Same thing here. And then week 4 overview. And they even do their own little research report. So this is super cute. So I'll show you what I did with my 2-year-old, which I would not force upon her, but she wants everything she sees her older siblings have. So I did create her one from the Little Explorer, just pulling a few activities so that she can feel like she's included, because she will literally ask, where's mine, where's mine, where's mine, while we're doing these lessons. So I prepped this for her to just color. She'll really probably just scribble all over this, but that is totally fine. At least she feels included and she's exposed to it. So I did that. I did the lodge and like all of the cut and paste for the animal homes, because what I'll do is I'll pre-cut these for her. She loves glue sticks, and I'll let her glue those on. So that'll keep her little hands busy and make her feel like she's doing the same thing as her big brother. Same thing for these. So just the kind of the cut and paste stuff I did for her, because I can pre-cut and let her paste them. Then I did this little animal homes coloring, but I just did the ones that she could color of the different animals, and she could at least learn to name those animals, and that's it for her. So I just pulled out some things to make her feel like she's included in what everyone else is doing. So now that I have everyone's books set up and ready to go, I am taking down all of our flashcards and watercolors from the Nesting Birds unit, and I am replacing them with all of our new cards for our Animal Homes unit.
Stay awake every night just to
Okay, you guys, so I have everything set up so far. I have all of our flashcards up. I have everyone's books set out where they normally sit. I also have their KWL sheet for those of them that are doing it outside of their book. Put up just the Animal Homes poster. And then I opened to this page in Nature Anatomy because it talks about beaver dens and beaver lodges, which we're learning about in this first week. And then I put the photograph versions of the flashcards here on the table just for something to get a close look at what they actually look like. And then I put the pretty watercolor versions all up here. So this is how I set up for day one. Nothing crazy. Sometimes I do a more elaborate setup on the first day. Sometimes I don't. I haven't come up yet with a sensory activity for this, which I may or may not do, which is something I've talked to you guys about before. But I'm really excited to get started, and we are actually going to get started right now. Okay, you guys, so hopefully you enjoyed planning and prepping with me and seeing the flip throughs of the different books in the Nature Study Club for this month. Let me know down below if you have any questions, if you are doing Nature Study Club. Let me know if you do any kind of nature study. If you're new here, introduce yourself in the comments below. I would love to get to know you guys. If you're not already following me over on Instagram, you can follow me there at rooted_homelife. I show more day-to-day things that we're doing, activities that we do along with the Nature Study Club and other unit studies that we're doing. Just regular everyday stuff over there more than over here. So make sure you check out the link in the description box below to learn more about Nature Study Club, to get your free trial, which is not going to be for that much longer, or to just subscribe for the $12 a month to get all of this every month, as well as a weekly freebie along with your Nature Study Club subscription. So I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos, and until next time, stay rooted.
Mommy?
What?
I'll remember.
You're about to get to do it. Are you excited?
It's the love. We are one member.